What's good, folks? It's Chi here. I just want to get on and tell you a little bit about what I'm doing for agent outreach these days in REI Reply. The market is really getting saturated with people who are texting agents for whatever reason. It may not just be wholesalers, it may not just be investors, it may be that they're getting all types of spam through text. So the way in which we've kind of circumvented that is to send them multiple texts to show them that we're not a bot, right? Well, that's all well and good, but a lot of times agents are still very skeptical if you're contacting them through text. So for me, I've made it my job to get on the phone with agents as quickly as possible and not to text them first. Texting is route number 2 if the phone call doesn't work. So what I have done is I've set up the power dialer in REI Reply. Now, a lot of people aren't even really aware that there is a dialer function in REI Reply that is not the dialer that's advertised on the side that costs extra money. The one on the side is is a multi-line dialer. So if you're familiar with calling sellers, you're trying to call home sellers and you're cold calling home sellers, a lot of times that is a multi-line dialer that people use. So it's like 5 lines. They all dial at the same time. Whichever one picks up first is the one you end up on the phone with. This speeds up the process of getting to someone quickly. But with agents, you're not necessarily going to have to do that, because usually I find that a lot of them, or the majority of them, or maybe about, I'd say, so yesterday I was on the dialer all day. About 50% of the agents I had a conversation with. So that's 50% success rate, and then the others actually texted me back later. So almost every person that I spoke to, there was some kind of contact made, and being that I called, the text that came after that was something that they responded positively to. They didn't respond with skepticism like they normally do if I text them first. So calling on the dialer is going to be much more successful for a lot of people. You'll have a lot more conversations. Now, it's going to take longer than texting. Make no mistake about it. I know that when I first started, I was doing about 80 texts per day to agents for new outreach, right? For phone calls, I can't get nearly that many that quickly. I mean, people will stay on the phone with you. They want to talk. They want to get all this information out of you, and sometimes it's difficult to cap. My desired number would be like 10 minutes per call, but sometimes it's not as easy to get people off the phone and do it politely. So I'll be working on that, but just to let you all know that the dialer does work. And the cool thing about it is, when you're on the dialer and someone does not respond, there's like multiple options that you can press, and REI Reply has a great phone app too. So the app does the exact same thing. So you can be on the dialer in your car, and if somebody doesn't pick up, you just hit no answer, or if you left a voicemail, you can hit voicemail. Either one of these, you can set it up to trigger a workflow. And what I have it set up in my system is that workflow will automatically trigger a text message. So I can continue going on calling, and it's automatically going to send a text message to that agent and say, hey, I just tried to call you. I'm looking for help trying to find a property, that kind of thing. So it is tremendously powerful, and it comes with the software as it is right now. So if you're using REI Reply and you don't know about the power dialer feature, if you're going to somewhere like using another dialer, a third-party dialer, Batch or whatever the other dialers, I can't even remember the name of the call tools. There's another one. There's so many dialers out there that you could be using. Kixie dialer. I've seen investors using a ton of different dialers. For me, there's no need. It's right there in REI Reply, and I'm going to show you how to set it up right now. So when you come to REI Reply and are ultimately starting in the dashboard here, you'll actually want to go to automation. Automation will bring you into your basically your workflow list. Now I have different folders for different things. So agent outreach, I have wholesaler outreach on the other pages. It's in alphabetical order. Cool thing is you can pull up your most recent workflows with this button here. It is very handy, this little button. So once you start working on a whole bunch, you got a whole bunch of stuff, you want to go back to the most recent thing that you've worked on, that will bring you right back up there. But we're going to go to Power Dialers here. That's the name of the folder that I have the dialer in. You can name your folder whatever you want, or not have a folder. That's perfectly fine. However you want to organize your material is on you. This video is not to show people how to organize. I'm not the most organized person in the world myself. So anyway, we're going to be creating this one here, Power Dialer MLS. It's very, as you see, it's a very simple workflow. There's only 3 actions after the trigger, right? So let's get into this real quick so you can see how to do this yourself. So ultimately, you'll start by creating a new workflow. So you'll click on this button here. We're going to start from scratch. Name it PD MLS. That's what I'm going to name it. So it's Power Dialer, short for Power Dialer MLS. The trigger is going to be a tag, we'll say. Now, you don't necessarily need a trigger, but we'll do it. PD MLS tag. I'm going to add a filter, select tag added. We'll create PD MLS tag. That's going to be the tag we're going to use, and we'll save that, right? Next, we're going to add the manual call. That should be right here. Manual call. That is the dialer, basically, right there. And then from there, we're going to wait, add a wait, 5 minutes. I always like to write it. You don't have to, but I like to have it there so when I go back and reference these, I don't have to actually click into the thing to figure out how long I put. And then we will remove the Power Dialer tag, the PD MLS tag. So we're going to remove that. Once somebody goes through it, it removes the tag. I don't like to have tags just sitting there, just in case somebody has to go back into the dialer, that same dialer for something. It's just something I do for pretty much all of my workflows at this point. All right, so that is that. We've created the basic foundation of the dialer there, which is this workflow, right? It's very simple. You get that the trigger is that tag. Again, you do not have to use a tag you don't have to have a trigger. And I can show you why you don't have to have that later, but you don't absolutely have a trigger. You could just have this be the only thing that was there, and this would still work. It'd still work, right? You wouldn't need the trigger. You can trigger it yourself in the contact section, just sending all your contacts into that particular workflow, and they will kick off just fine. So we don't need any of these things, but these are things that I'm going to use and have in this particular setup. This is how I set mine up. But just letting you know that it's not necessarily needed. Next, we're going to go back out to the opportunities section. So in opportunities, we're going to create this, which is a pipeline, right? Power Dialer MLS pipeline. I have myself in there. As a test, this is my test account. To create this pipeline, you just come into your pipeline here, create a new pipeline. We'll call this PD MLS. Same, we'll have one that we'll have like let's see, completed. So that means we've completed a call with that person, and this one is no answer. Something like that. You can name them however you want, but you basically is you have a section for people you did not get in contact with and a section for people who you actually did. You want to be able to keep up with the people that you've talked to and those who you did not. So that's going to be there. Go to the MLS section, the opportunity section, sorry, PD MLS, and boom, we have that, right? Completed and no answer. Now we're going to go back into automations. From here, we're going to go back into our Power Dialers folder. We're going to do a PDMLS follow-up, right? So let's go create workflow from scratch. I'm going to name this PDMLS follow-up. So on this, we're going to have an actual trigger. This one we actually need a trigger, and this is going to be call status. And that call status will be the person has to be in the workflow. We're going to say PD. Okay, we want them in that workflow, and we want them, the call status to be either busy, canceled, no answer, or voicemail. Not completed. Everything except completed. So these are all the options if you did not speak to the person. You could leave a voicemail. I do leave voicemails, but I still want this to run, and you'll see why in a minute. But basically what this whole workflow is going to do is if the person does not answer the phone, or you do not actually have a verbal conversation with this person, then it will send them a text. That's what kicks off your texting. You could actually make this trigger a different workflow, so a text workflow if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that in this video. It's just going to be a basic SMS. I think keeping things simple in REI Reply is a good thing these days. All right, so that is that. We'll go with that. So now you have a call status set up. We're going to go to the next thing. It's a wait. Do a lot of waits. This is just going to be a 1 minute wait. And we'll save that. Then we're going to go to create an opportunity. And that opportunity is just going to be in the same pipeline, PD MLS. Pipeline stage, no answer. You don't need an opportunity name. You don't need any of that stuff. Status is open. We want to keep this open. And boom. That's that. Then we're going to go to... Now, what I did is I did a chat GPT prompt. Now, you don't have to do this chat GPT prompt. It's going to cost money every time you do a chat GPT prompt. And chat GPT can be a little bit funny. All you really need is an SMS. And basically, what the SMS would say, we would just do the basic SMS here and not do this is what my chat GPT prompt would have said, which is, oops, for some reason it didn't copy it. So if this was coming from chat GPT, you would just put, hey, I tried to call this person. They did not respond. Please write a short SMS alternative to this message here. Now, why would I do an alternative to something that I already have a message for? If I did it in ChatGPT, I would do that because that would mean that this message would be randomized, right? But for this particular message, we don't need to randomize it really. We can just have a text message. So I'm going to get rid of the prompt, not do ChatGPT, and just do a basic SMS, and it's going to say, hi, contact first name. I tried to give you a call, but we got your voicemail. I left a message. My name is user first name, and I was trying to see if perhaps you could assist me in finding a house. Let me know. Thanks. All right. So pretty basic. right? So that is that. And that is basically the end of our workflow here. Right? So we'll save that, we'll publish it. That is ready to go. It's ready to roll, rock and roll. So we're gonna go back out, and now you want to know, okay, how do you use the dialer? What makes the dialer work? So the dialer is basically all set up. That's basically the entire setup there. So you come into your contacts here, right? And then you would select the contacts you want. Now, a lot of times I have smart lists. Now, there aren't any contacts in here, but I have created smart lists. So I have smart lists for, dispos when I'm sending out to this account used to be used for doing a lot of dispositions. But you would select your people here. I'm only going to select one. That'd be myself here, and then you could add that person to a campaign. Now, yeah, you could just use the tag PDMLS, the tag we created, but remember I said it wasn't necessary because you can just add the people to the campaign here. So then you would go to PDMLS, name this PDMLS, add the campaign workflow. Okay, and they are there. All right, so then what? So now you're going to come into conversations, right? And you have your manual actions. Now, so when you come to manual actions, you're going to want to click on select your workflow. Right now you only see one, but normally you'll see a ton of your contacts in here. There are not many contacts in this test account because when I do videos, YouTube punishes me if they see any contacts on the screen. They'll basically take my video down. So and to circumvent that, I just have this test account. So PDMLS was the workflow. So you want to make sure that you're in the actual workflow that you're going to call to start the dial, and then you can press start and begin calling. Now you have this person in your dialer. This is your dialer. You hit the start button, it begins, and it will call them. Now, if you had a list of people, it would just continue to go through all those people after the call. So it's dialing now, and maybe we'll hear it dial. I don't know if it's going to be loud enough for you to hear on this microphone, but when it starts to dial, for some reason it's taking a minute to dial right now. And let's say the person doesn't answer, right? We don't get a response from this person, like seemingly. So then it's going to say, well, how did the call go? And if we talk to them, you'd say we completed the call. And this is the same on the app. It does the exact same thing in the app. Completed the call. If you had to leave a voicemail, you'd click that. If it was busy, you click that. I don't know. I haven't gotten a busy phone number in years. But and if it's no answer, you would click no answer. So we'll say that this one is no answer. Boom, and you click no answer, and this is okay. It says good work because we've been through all of them. But let's go back to contacts. You'll see that it basically generates a message, and I did this test earlier. It'll probably pop up while I'm talking at some point, but it basically says, hey, she tried to calling, got your voicemail, left a message about finding a house. Let me know if you can help. Thanks. Your name. Okay, so that came from ChatGPT when I had ChatGPT, and sometimes if you don't do the prompt right, it will do this your name crap. So, or if the person's not assigned actually, if you don't have an assignment. So you want to make sure if you're going to use ChatGPT, make sure that your contacts are all assigned to you before you send them through any workflows. But that's basically that. So
this is really not showing you the power of the power dialer because you're not really seeing how many people you can actually have in a dialer. Let me show you that real quick. So this is a dialer in my actual account that I use, and as you can see, you can have quite a few people in the dialer. This is just one page of it. It goes next to others. It's showing you it's assigned to me. These are the contacts, so on and so forth. So you can have lots of people in your dialer, and if I hit the start button, it would just continue to call one after the other. Once you got to that end part where you had the four icons, whether you complete the call or it's busy or whatever, every time you click on that, it will give you a few seconds to make notes in that person's thing. You can also pause it if you feel like you need to take a lot of notes. Pause it, then push it back, let it hit the play button, and it'll keep going. It'll keep dialing, and it'll dial all these people for as long as it can until it gets to the last person, like you saw, and then it will finish. So that is the dialer inside of the system. I'm going to show you the dialer inside of the phone at this point so you can get an idea about that as well.
Okay, so when you come into the REI Reply app, this is what you'll find here. It's basically a dashboard, right? And your dashboard is going to give you, basically everything at the dashboard within the actual desktop app will show you. But we're here for the dialer, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to tap on those three lines at the top left, right? Tap on those. Then what we have is you have opportunities, you have manual actions, and invoices. We're going to go to manual actions. All right. And then we're going to go to, the filter on the far right. And that's where we'll find our dialer. So we got to scroll through this. Unfortunately, so there's our power dialer MLS, and we don't have any people in there, so it's not going to show up right now with any actual individuals in the dialer. And there we go. We got person in the dialer, right? That's me. So if I hit the play button, it will immediately start calling that person. And because it's calling on the phone that I'm on, probably not going to ring through, or I'm going to decline it from my side. So right now, then you have your four how did the call go options, and we'll say this person was a no answer. So now it's going to send that person a text message, and that is basically how the dialer works. So folks, as you can see, the dialer is very beneficial. It's very helpful. And that's how you set up the dialer in REI Reply. It works wonders. I love it. Hopefully you will too. Hope this video helped. Have a good one.